All right, so now we're going to talk about traditional versus self-publishing. This is one of those decisions that many memoir writers will have to face, whether to publish traditionally or on their own. Now, first of all, we're going to talk about the pros of traditional publishing. Now, obviously, number one, credibility. Traditional publishing can give your memoir more credibility and help gain recognition as a writer. It can launch a career. It can do so many things. It can be a credibility piece that, if you have a coaching business or some other kind of business, it can catapult you into, a whole different category by being traditionally published. Number two, professional editing. Now, I know this may sound a little bit trivial, but if you've ever had to edit a book on your own and you're not the best editor, you don't know how much value having someone else do the editing for you can be. Editing can be very tough. But going through a traditional publisher, you don't do that. You don't have to go through the editing. You do your own regular self-publishing to just make sure your story is solid, but you wouldn't have to be responsible for all of the editing like you would otherwise. Number three, marketing support. Traditional publishers, they have an entire marketing department. They help promote the book, help promote you. They increase its visibility. They do the job because it's mostly their job at that point to be the one doing the marketing and publishing you. Number four, distribution, same thing. You don't have to have thousands of books printed up and in your garage or becoming furniture in your apartment or anything like that. Traditional publishers, they have established distribution networks. They already have the printers. They already have the warehouses. They have all of that stuff. You don't have to mess with it. So that is another really great reason to try to go traditional publish. Number five is money. The advance payment. Usually with traditional publishers, they will pay an author an advance for their book. And then that will literally be the advance of their royalties. It helps you pay for some bills and then start writing your next book. Whatever your motivation is, it will put some money in your pocket. So those are obviously the top five pros of why you would traditionally publish. But now let's talk about the top five cons of traditional publishing, because as good as the traditional publishing sounds, there are some bad sides. So number one, limited control. With traditional publishing, the publisher has the final say on everything from the cover to the content of your story. They can change your story. You don't necessarily want to give away that control. Number two, slower process. Publishing traditionally is typically a year minimum. It could take much longer. Just know that, and that's assuming you've already been accepted. The process time of all your submissions and waiting, the weeks or the months or the years before they even respond, if they even respond, with rejections, and it kind of sucks to be rejected a lot. So you gotta be ready for that if that's what the route you're going to go. So number three, royalties. Now, royalties is a good word, but traditional publishers, they take a large chunk of those royalties as their fee, and rightfully so. They're doing all the hard work, but you as an author, you don't necessarily want to be the person who gets paid the least. It's your story. So, keep that in mind. Number 4, fewer opportunities. Now, what I mean by that is, when you're traditionally published, they only want to publish, I don't know the number, but let's say that they only release 50 books a year. Out of those 50 books that they're going to publish this year, they have so many submissions, that the chance that yours is the one that even gets read this year is potentially slim. It depends on which publishing house you send it to. So you really have to be aware of, it's a tough market. So don't take it personal if you don't get chosen as one of the ones to be published. But, when you are, it's great. But most will never be traditionally published, even if that's the goal that they want. So just be ready to accept that. Number 5, if you are the one chosen, the contract terms, of a traditional contract can be very complex, and it may limit your ability to make changes to your memoir. It may control your story after you've signed over your rights to that. So just be very careful when you're doing that. Now, if it's a regular fiction that you're not as emotionally invested in, yeah, heck yeah, why not? But be careful when it's your memoir. It obviously will catapult you, but what do you lose? So that's something you really need to figure out for yourself. Now let's talk about the pros of self-publishing. And I'll be honest, I am a small publishing company. I help independent writers publish their books. It's kind of a joint venture where we both can profit and we both do some investing in it. But you're still in a situation where, there's give and take. So in self-publishing, in what I'm going to talk about, I'm talking about you are doing this 100% by yourself. Now, you don't have to. There are options that are somewhere in the middle, the hybrids, because that's kind of what I am. But we'll talk about that later. Put it down in the comments if you have any questions. But that's not what this is about. I just want to talk to you about your options right now. So the pros of self-publishing. Number 1, control. Self-publishing gives you complete control over every aspect of your memoir, your story, the cover, the content, everything. If you want to say that Patty was fatty Patty, then you do that. But know that you're still going to be the one that pay the consequences, but it is your control. It's your decision to make. So that's a really big deal. Number 2, faster process. With self-publishing, you can get your memoir into the hands of readers so much more quickly than through traditional publishing. Now, I still recommend, some people will knock out a book in a week, but if you're not going to do this carefully and with true, you want to take it seriously. Don't just add to the population of books, but if you want to self-publish, do give it your due diligence. And even if you take a year, it's a much faster process, self-publishing, than it would be traditional. Number 3, royalties. Now, with self-publishing, you keep a larger percentage of your book royalties, which means more money in your pocket. You could publish on some of the big platforms like Amazon, or there's plenty of them out there. Amazon obviously is the biggest, I think. But with that, they're still going to take a fee, but you're going to make much more in the long run than you would if you went traditional publishing. Uh, so then 4, more opportunities. If you self-publish, that allows you to bypass traditional gatekeepers, lets you get your memoir in the hands of readers, especially if you learn how to master social media marketing. Like, have you seen some of the musicians? They'll create a TikTok video and they'll blow up. They make more money even if they never have an actual record. uh they can make more money just by becoming a social media uh fan fave. So there is opportunities in this world that you have in the modern day that we've never had before. And so really consider tapping into that. You don't have to, but it is there. It's more opportunity than ever before. Number 5, flexible contract terms. With self-publishing, you can choose the terms of your contract and make the changes to your memoir as needed. Now, when I say contract, that can be if you're working with your printers, if how you're going to get it out there with Amazon or whoever. Otherwise, you are the only one you're contracting with. If you're printing it and distributing it on your own entirely, you have those options. Now let's move over and talk about the cons of self-publishing, because I am a huge advocate of self-publishing, but there are some cons that you need to take into consideration. Number 1, limited credibility. Self-published books, not as much as they used to, but there is still that the opinion, I guess, that they're less credible, that they're less than the traditionally published books. And it's harder sometimes for people to give that same respect to someone who's self-published. You may be making more money than a traditionally published author, but you may not get the same credibility. So just keep that in mind. Number 2, limited marketing support. Limited, like almost none. When you are self-publishing, no one's selling your book for you. You are your sales team. You are everything. So just be very aware of that. You don't have a marketing department unless you're a marketer. Self-publishing authors really often struggle to promote their books. It is a real issue, and I don't want to deceive you into thinking that it's not. It absolutely can be done. You need to have a realistic expectation, but it can be done. It's going to take a lot of effort. So just keep that in mind. Number 3, no advance payment. You don't get a royalty. No one's paying you to publish for yourself. So if you need to fund something, then keep that in mind. Now, some people will do, they'll do a Kickstarter or different things like that to try to come up with some funding. And if you're good at marketing, that's something that you could do and still self-publish. So keep that in mind as well. Number 4, limited distribution. If you're self-publishing, it's harder to get into bookstores and other retail outlets. You could do pop-ups and book signings and different things like that, but it is tougher unless you have an actual agent who can get you into those things. It's not impossible, but it's going to take some effort. And then 5, quality control. With self-publishing, the responsibility for editing falls solely onto you unless you hire someone to do it for you. Then it becomes their responsibility, but then even then you hired them, so it's ultimately back to you and your responsibility to make sure that they did it well. So there's that quality control concern that you need to make sure that the people you hire to help you are good, reputable, and that they know what they're doing and that they're going to have your back. ultimately, the decision is personal on how you do this. It's going to depend on, your goals, your values, your preferences. And no matter which route you choose, just remember the most important thing is that you did your story, that you wrote your memoir, that you went through it for yourself, and that your story is now ready to share with someone. But it's up to you to figure out who. All right, guys. Uh, your memoir, in my opinion, deserves to be read and appreciated by others, but that's my opinion. I hope you make a decision that is the best for you. And don't hesitate, put some comments below, and make sure that you subscribe, find our group, and let's talk about this if you have any questions at all. All right, thanks.